Squad, Hell Let Loose, Squad 44, and even Arma 3. All of these games are awesome. Military simulators, probably my favorite genre with its hyper-realism and next-level immersion. However, the thing about Mil-Sims is you gotta have at least a couple hours to play. There are very few games that bridge the gap between arcade shooters like Call of Duty and Battlefield and immersive, gritty, realistic shooters like Squad. Now, some of you may remember the game we're going to talk about in today's video. Vanguard 1944 is definitely one of those games, with suppression mechanics and squad-based gameplay where communication is key. Yet the maps aren't 4 kilometers wide with an hour-and-a-half match timer. General Naga, the lead developer, was gracious enough to grant me 10 Steam keys to give away to you guys. But before that, we're going to talk a little bit about where Vanguard 1944 has been, where it's currently at, and where it's going. Welcome to the Mil-Sim tax shooter and history-based gaming channel. I am your host, Boogie5, but you can just call me Boogie, as the 5 simply represents I was the 5th Boogie ever online.
A long time ago, I was like semi-pro good at Quake.
So, the team developing Vanguard Normandy 1944 came together because of the desire to play a historically accurate, tactical, team-based multiplayer game that is still accessible and fun to play. Yes, they believe those features can coexist. They didn't want to spend 20 minutes walking to an objective or game rounds lasting over an hour. They wanted to create an intense and tactical objective-based shooter in a modern engine that is fun to play, yet players still face the threat that a single bullet can end their life. In Vanguard 1944, you will find that a well-organized squad utilizing suppression and maneuvering as a single fighting unit is the most effective road to success. Now, one of my favorite things about Vanguard 1944 is that it is built on the CryEngine, and of all the engines, Unity, Godot, and even Unreal Engine, the CryEngine is probably the most beautiful when it comes to graphics. If you've ever seen War of Rights, that game is also built on the CryEngine. So, Vanguard 1944 released several years ago at a modest $15. However, the timing was atrocious, to say the least. The game released into a very hectic and overflowing with competition time frame. Not only was Hell Let Loose and Squad 44 right up front in the limelight, but you had other games like Insurgency Sandstorm and Ready or Not kind of picking up steam, heading for release in that same realistic shooter space. Releasing into early access April of 2019 for a modest $15, Vanguard 1944 actually had a pretty decent marketing scheme. For those couple weeks leading up to the release, the game was kind of everywhere. If you were into realistic FPS, you knew about this game. Not only did they have very professional advertising, but the biggest and best, most popular YouTubers and Twitch streamers, from the likes of KarmaCut to Shermanator and Operator Drewski, they were all streaming this game or making YouTube videos. So what happened? Within just a few weeks, you would log onto the server browser and there would be no games. All of the servers were empty. I'm sure this was a little heartbreaking for the devs, as sure, the game was a bit undercooked. There was no leaning and other features that are expected in the FPS space. But the game, by any stretch of the imagination, was not a bad game. It was a beautiful game that just released in one of the most competitive genres there is in gaming, attempting to entertain probably the most picky gamers of all. Vanguard 1944 could have really been something special, if you ask me, and I honestly think the timing of its early access release was more than likely the main culprit of its demise. But here's the cool part, and the reason for this whole video. For almost half a decade, General Naga, the lead developer, and his small but dedicated team have slowly but surely been working away in their little workshop, quietly but diligently, adding things that were missing to the game. Things like the ability to lean, many quality of life features, optimizations, improving performance. In all this long while under everyone's noses, they have improved the game quite a bit. General Naga puts on a playtest event seemingly about every month or so. He has asked me to ask you guys to come join him. Not this Saturday, tomorrow, but the following Saturday, April 20th, at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. He is looking for a handful of you guys to come play test the game. That's right. If you think you will be able to make the play test and play at least for a little while, come over to my Discord. It's linked down in the description. You can say it in the general channel, the gaming channel, or just DM me. Say, hey Boogie, I would like to play test Vanguard 1944. I only have 10 keys. So the first 10 that come, the first 10 get the keys. And yes, these are permanent Steam keys. You will have the game for life. However, currently, you will only be able to play with other players when General Naga puts on these play tests. That happen about every month or so. So if you don't think you will be able to make Saturday, April 20th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, please don't bother taking a key. This is really about stress testing the server load, and hopefully down the line, we can see this game have some kind of a revival, as it really does fill a kind of much needed spot in the realistic FPS space. We now have Squad and Squad 44, and Hell Let Loose, kind of bridge the gap between the Call of Duties and the Armas. But we need more games like Vanguard 1944 here to kind of bridge that new gap between the Squads and the Hell Let Looses and the Call of Duties. A realistic shooter where communication is key, yet with only 1 hour of free time, you could still catch a game or two, or three. And yeah, hit me on Discord. Let's give General Naga and the boys a hand play testing, and who knows what might happen. I would love to see this game rise like a phoenix from the ashes. And really, if you ask me, I definitely think there is a place for Vanguard 1944 now in the current realistic FPS space 2024. Anyway, I'm sure it's a long, complicated road to that happening, but if it is to happen, these play tests are definitely the next step in achieving that. And when it comes to graphics, seemingly the most important things in all of gaming here recently, it simply does not get better looking than the CryEngine. I mean, just look at it.
I say, would you look at this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Bunk. I think they're in the switch tower. Bloody hell, where are they?
Just keep off me.
Look out front of them, bunker.
Hey, enemy has got Terrace.
Christ.
Faker.
I'm surprised you lasted that long.
One out front.
I am actually.
Yeah, they keep shooting at us from fucking A inside those trenches. That's where they're shooting at.
I think I've got...
Capture of objective Able is in progress.
Uh-oh.
Hey guys, try to go right flank. They are not watching right flank.
Very right flank.
I like how we're just rotating.
Oh god. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I think they're on the signal box somewhere in that building. Like, at least one of them. And also keep an eye on the two bunkers.
I mean,
there's definitely in the one closest to the bridge. I think there's still one on B. Goblin, to your left, to your left, to your left! On the bunker!
Alright, we've got west trenches.
down and get that cap underway.
Oh, he's on the other side, friendly.
Capture of objective
friendly.
Baker is in progress. Capture
Beautiful
complete.
job.
Push ahead.
Nice.
Shooting across the river.
Cross the bridge. Go,
First
go,
cross,
go.
Alright boys, next Saturday, April 20th, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you can make the play test, come through to my Discord and ask me for a key. As always, shout out to my channel members, my inspiration, the Mil-Simp minions. I will see you boys in the next one. Y'all be good to each other.